Right, the regular season has just ended. Playoffs start next week. I'm going to do a very quick 3-round mock. Jaguars are still taking Trevor Lawrence first overall. Despite what happened in the playoffs, he's still the best option available at quarterback. He's going to be a difference maker, a generational talent. Clemson's defense let them down in the playoffs, not Trevor Lawrence. So stick with Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars. Second pick, the Jets. This is going to change the dynamic of the draft because I don't think they're taking a quarterback. I think they stick with Sam Darnold, build around him. The best way to do that is Penei Sewell. They could either put him at guard next to Mekhi Becton or put him on the opposite side at right tackle. He can move around. Miami, third overall from Houston. This is assuming there's not going to be any trades, but I think some team is going to trade up for a quarterback. But right now, no trades. Miami here, the best option for them is Micah Parsons, middle linebacker from Penn State. They run a 3-4 defense, so they need those linebackers. He can get at the quarterback. I think that's what he loves to do. He started out life as a defensive end. Best overall value, Micah Parsons. Fourth overall, the Falcons. Here, they're going to take Justin Fields, even though they have 3 years left with Matt Ryan. They're either going to trade him or let him play another year and then trade him or try and trade him then. Justin Fields just played out of his mind in the playoffs. He looks amazing. Going to the championship game, we'll see what he does there. But he looks like someone who can carry a team. Bengals, fifth overall. They missed out on Penei Sewell. They're mad about that. But here, the best value for them is Patrick Surtain, cornerback, Alabama, lockdown corner. I came into this season very skeptical about him. I wasn't impressed until he played this year. Very impressive. Definitely someone worth a top 5 pick. 6 overall, the damnable Eagles. They can take Jamar Chase. I originally didn't see them taking a wide receiver, but Jalen Hurts has been playing amazing. He needs a weapon. They did great things with undrafted free agents. Alshon Jeffrey is going to be gone. Alshon is gone. They're going to need Jamar Chase. Lions, 7th overall. I'm going to give them Devonta Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. 2 of their top wide receivers are leaving, most likely. Matt Stafford is still in his prime. Originally, I thought I was going to put Devonta Smith as the first wide receiver off the board. It depended on where the draft fell to what team. But I think they can make the best use of Devonta Smith. His size is a question mark. He's only 170 pounds. Can he hold up in the NFL? We'll see. Panthers, 8th overall. In this scenario, they get to take Zach Wilson, who just played out of his mind in his bowl game. He looked amazing. Absolutely owned his bowl game. And at the time, he jumped up to the number 2 quarterback ahead of Justin Fields, and then Justin Fields just had to outdo him. But Panthers going to move away from Teddy Bridgewater. 9th overall, the Broncos. Another team that's rebuilding. I originally had them taking Kyle Trask because that's a John Elway guy. John Elway just stepped down as of today. So they're kind of in a rebuild here. They need a cornerback badly. Caleb Farley, cornerback, Virginia Tech. He's got amazing size, speed, athleticism. He opted out this year, unfortunately, but last year he looked incredible. And it looks like he can do things other cornerbacks cannot do. Best overall talent. 10th overall, the Cowboys. They can take kwity Paye, edge rusher from Michigan. He looks like a young DeMarcus Lawrence. He was a track star in high school. He's 6'4", 270 pounds, very fast. He's a run stopper, get to the quarterback and do everything. I think that's just the best way to rebuild, or start rebuilding. Best defense is to put the quarterback on his back, as they say. Giants picking 11th overall. Please God, let them take Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida. Evan Ingram, his contract is up, and if it weren't for Evan Ingram, I mean, we would have won this division easily if we had Kyle Pitts in there this year. From the drop passes to the balls that he just goes off his hands, tips up in the air, and gets intercepted. He's just a liability. The Giants need a weapon. Daniel Jones needs someone to throw to. So we kind of have the best of both worlds here. You get a tight end, and you get an amazing receiving option. 49ers, 12th overall. Give them J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina. Richard Sherman will not be back. Even if he was back, they have no depth at cornerback. They had so many injuries. And they're actually somehow managed to be a very good team this year despite all their injuries. So they're going to come back really strong. Do it with J.C. Horn. 13th overall, the Chargers. Justin Herbert looks amazing. They got to build around him. They got to protect him. Give them Sam Cosmi, left tackle from Texas. I was skeptical about him too. Coming into the season, I thought he was going to be great, and I got kind of iffy, and he finished so strong. The last game he played, he was absolutely amazing. Kept his man on an island. Definitely one of the top tackles in the draft. Vikings picking 14th overall. Give them Gregory Rousseau, defensive end from Miami. Even though he opted out this year, he's long, he's strong, he's fast. Once he gets a hold of you, you're not going anywhere. I think the Vikings were looking for a defensive end. That's why they traded for Yannick Ngakoue. But that just didn't work out. Let's see who is picking next. 15th overall, the Patriots. Here, I think they take Trey Lance. I think that they want this type of quarterback. That's why they went with Cam Newton. I think Josh McDaniel, the offensive coordinator, I think this is really what he wants. And I think he's going to take over as head coach in the near future. So I think that he's going to want to develop Trey Lance. But he does need work. Arizona picking 16th overall, Rashawn Slater, left tackle, Northwestern. They need offensive line help. Criticism of Rashawn Slater is he's short. He's only 6'3". Great. Kyler Murray is short, so this kind of makes sense. Hopefully he could play. They say he could play all 5 positions. I've only seen him play left tackle. But if he could play left guard, that'd be even better and get rid of Justin Pugh. Let's see. The Raiders picking 17th overall, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker from Notre Dame. This kid is a rocket. He is amazing. I wish the Giants could have him. They need difference makers on defense. He's just a difference maker. Raiders, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. 18th overall, Miami. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama. They need a weapon. I know a lot of mocks have them using their first pick on a wide receiver. Now that they're picking 3rd overall, I think that's just too high for them to take a wide receiver. But here, I think that's a great pick at 18th overall, Jalen Waddle. He's fast as hell. He's got great hands, great route runner. He's probably coming back and playing in the championship game. Kid's got a lot of heart. He had a very bad ankle injury, but he wants to come back and play when most people are opting out. Washington picking 19th overall. They are a quarterback away. I mean, Alex Smith is playing great, comeback player of the year, but they need a quarterback. The big 3 are gone. Here, let them take Kyle Trask. Even though he's a pocket passer and the league doesn't like pocket passers anymore, he can run if he has to. There have been designed run plays for him if he needs short yardage. I don't think he has any problem doing that, but he's a pocket passer. He might even win the Heisman. Jamie Newman is playing in the Senior Bowl, and I think a lot of how the draft will play out depends on how he looks in the Senior Bowl, because I think people want that mobile quarterback. Speaking of which, you got the Bears picking next, 20th overall. They can't sign a veteran because they have Nick Foles under contract, so I don't know how they would be able to sign a veteran for good money. So they're gonna have to take Mac Jones. Not the worst thing in the world. He is a pocket passer. Played absolutely amazing this year. He's got great weapons, great offensive line, but the Bears think they can accommodate him. Jaguars, they got this pick from the Rams, so here's their second pick in the first round, 21st overall. They can take Christian Darrisaw, left tackle from Virginia Tech, another player I was very skeptical about because I have my own tackles that I came into the season high on. Darrisaw wasn't really one of them until I saw him play Clemson just a few weeks ago, not too long ago. He looked absolutely amazing against Clemson. That's when I knew Christian Darrisaw definitely belongs in the first round. 22nd overall, the Colts. This was my number 1 left tackle next to Penei Sewell. Alex Leatherwood, left tackle, Alabama. He has played quite a bit of guard, which is great. I love that versatility. Colts are definitely going to have to replace their left tackle, Costanzo. He thought about retiring this past year. He's probably going to retire. Browns, 23rd overall. I'll give them Trevon Merrick, safety, TCU. Love this player. Loved him last year. Only thing I was worried about is Ardarius Washington was starting to kind of outshine him, in my opinion. They have a great cornerback. They were all just kind of fighting to see who would shine brighter. Trevon Merrick definitely has. He's definitely a first rounder. And I was going to give them a linebacker, but I think Sendejo is kind of getting on in years. They should really go safety. 24th overall, the Titans. Give them Rashad Bateman, wide receiver of Minnesota. They did not exercised the fifth-year option on Corey Davis. They probably would have if they had known how well he was going to play this year. So I gave them a similar wide receiver, about the same size. He's 6'2", as opposed to a Rondale Moore, who I thought about giving them. He's only 5'9". So stick with what works. And Corey Davis and A.J. Brown were amazing this year together. So try and keep that dynamic. 25th overall, Tampa Bay. I'm going to give them Azeez Ojulari, outside linebacker from Georgia. Jason Pierre-Paul has played fantastic this year, absolutely fantastic, but he is 32 years old. So let's get Azeez Ojulari acclimated into that defense. 26th overall, the Ravens. I thought about giving them a center, but I'm going to give them a guard here. Wyatt Davis, right guard, Ohio State. This is a running team. They need to run. They have their bookend tackles, Ronnie Stanley and Orlando Brown Jr. There's just some injuries there. But the best center for them would be Trey Hill. He's a real run-blocking center from Georgia. I just think it's kind of high for him here, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went Trey Hill. But the best defensive lineman, Wyatt Davis. 27 overall, the Jets. They get this pick from Seattle. Here they can take Travis Etienne. It's a bit of a luxury, but they need this weapon. If they're going to build around Sam Darnold and give him his best shot, Etienne has proven that he can make the quarterback look good. He took the Clemson's rookie quarterback and this year and made him really look good. Not too many running backs can do that, but definitely Travis Etienne. 28th overall, Steelers. They have free agents on their offensive line. You have Trey Smith, who can play left tackle and left guard. He's from Tennessee. He's played mostly, I think, left guard all season this year. But he'll play wherever you need him to play. Saints picking 29th overall. Give them Shaun Wade, cornerback, Ohio State. Not really a need. I mean, when you're picking at this point in the draft, you're a pretty good team. But Janoris Jenkins, 32 years old. Wade came into the season as my number one cornerback. He's a nickel corner, but he's played outside this whole year. He has a pick six playing on the outside. So I like Shaun Wade. 30th overall, the Bills. They can do something really special here. The Bills can take Rondale Moore, wide receiver from Purdue. This could be a very dangerous offense. It's already dangerous. But you put Rondale Moore playing with Stephon Diggs, that's going to free up Diggs to go deep a lot. He's basically a better Cole Beasley, much better, more dynamic Beasley. 31st overall, the Packers. Jay Tufele, defensive lineman from USC. Put him next to Kenny Clark. I think they're going to have something really special there. I mean, the defense has played very well. I still feel like they could do better interior defensive line. Jay Tufele. The Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Here they could take Zaven Collins, defensive end / linebacker from Tulsa. They run a 4-3 defense. Let him play with Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Willie Gay. He's a first-team All-American, someone I was extremely skeptical about coming from a smaller school like Tulsa. But it really, up until the end, that's when I made my decision. Like, yeah, he's for real, the size, the athleticism, fit that defense very well. Round 2. Round 2 will start with the Jaguars, 33rd overall. Joseph Osai, outside linebacker from Texas. They run a 4-3 defense. So they have 3 linebackers back. Schobert will be their middle linebacker. So you have Miles Jack, and you have Joseph Osai on the other side. He loves getting at the quarterback. He's had a fantastic year. Big difference maker. And I think that'll make Miles Jack happy. So he's not overworked. 34th overall, the Jets. Give them Darian Kendrick, cornerback, Clemson. The cornerback they have, Lamar Jackson, is not the good Lamar Jackson. They need help in their secondary. Falcons picking 35th overall. They need help in their secondary. Thought about giving them a cornerback, but this player is here. Andre Cisco, safety, Syracuse. He would have been a definite first rounder. He got hurt earlier this season. He is all over the field. He's too good to pass up. He's only falling because he got hurt earlier. Miami, they got this pick. It's another pick they got from Houston. Poor Houston. But Miami here can take Liam Eichenberg, left tackle from Notre Dame. They can move Hunt from right tackle back to guard, where he's supposed to be playing. They could probably move Austin Jackson from the left tackle, put him at the right tackle. And that'll improve that line dramatically. 37 overall, the damnable Eagles. Here, they could take Creed Humphrey, center, Oklahoma. Jason Kelsey is a fantastic center. He's getting older, and I really think he's pissed off that the Eagles tanked that game. Jason Peters is older, injured, so they're going to need to do some things on that offensive line. Worst case scenario, you put him at guard until he's ready to take over at center. 38th overall, the Bengals. They need to build the offensive line. It's Deontay Brown, right guard, Alabama. I think he's the best guard in the draft. Next to him and Wyatt Davis, I think are neck and neck. And I've had Deontay Brown in my first round up until now. He's just barely fallen out. Deontay Brown. 39 overall, the Panthers. He is a very exciting player. Davion Nixon, nose tackle from Iowa. I think a lot of people aren't familiar with him only because he missed a year last year. He went to junior college. It's long story short, is a learning disability involved, and he just couldn't handle the workload. I mean, Alabama desperately wanted him, but I think that played into why he didn't go there. He's Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. This is a very big, athletic, special athlete. A real difference maker on defense. They run a 4-3 defense. They need those big bodies up front. Panthers, Davion Nixon. 40th overall, the Broncos. They need linebackers. Dylan Moses, linebacker from Alabama. He would have gone in the first round last year if he didn't get hurt. He came back and played this year, and he looks damn good to me. People say, he's not as good as he was last year. He's still all over the field. Broncos still need linebackers. Dylan Moses. The Lions, picking 41st overall. They could take Javon Holland, safety, Oregon. Opted out this year. Otherwise, he was another potential first-rounder. Difference maker in the secondary, Javon Holland. 42nd overall, my Giants. Here, they can take Chaz Surratt, linebacker, UNC, is a very intense player. The Giants, their defense is based on really intense linebackers getting at the quarterback. That's how we get to the quarterback, with our linebackers. 49ers pick 43rd. They could take Paris Ford, safety from Pittsburgh. You put Paris Ford next to Jimmy Ward, and I think that's very special right there. They need a little bit on the offensive line. They need a center or guard, but the opportunity to have Paris Ford next to Jimmy Ward, go for it. 44th overall, the Cowboys. They could take Brady Christensen from BYU, left tackle BYU. Another player I was very skeptical about until kind of the last minute. He's a first-team All-American. Top of your screen, number 67. Keep an eye on him, left tackle. Got a lot of attention, obviously, because he's protecting Zach Wilson. And the Cowboys need to rebuild that line. There's no doubt about that. 45th overall, the Jaguars. They got this pick from the Vikings. So the Jaguars can take Pat Freiermuth, tight end, Penn State, baby Gronk, which is quite a compliment. He's an intense player, great target, fights for every yard. Tyler Eifert is not going to cut it there. You're going to have a new quarterback in Jacksonville. Give him a weapon, a real serious weapon. That's Pat Freiermuth. The Patriots, picking 46th overall. I'm going to give them Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end from Michigan. They run a 3-4 defense. They need a big defensive lineman. I originally had Aiden Hutchinson ahead of kwity Paye. I think he's better than kwity Paye, or he's a different kind of player. But Patriots need someone to get at the quarterback from that 3-4 position on the defensive line. Not easy to do. Aiden Hutchinson can do it. Big boy. Chargers picking next, 47th overall. Rodarius Williams, cornerback, Oklahoma State. They need to replace Desmond King. They never did that. Definitely need a corner. Rodarius Williams. Raiders picking 48th overall. Let's go another playmaker on defense. Bubba Bolden, safety, Miami. This is a big safety. He's a great tackler, great coverage skills, very intense player. And again, the Raiders, they need playmakers on defense. Arizona picking 49th. They need someone to get at the quarterback desperately. They've tried very hard to do that. Hassan Reddick has been pretty damn good this year. He looked very good against my Giants because we played terrible. But they can have Joe Tryon here, outside linebacker from Washington. And they need this. They need to be able to get at the quarterback. Need some new blood in there. And Joe Tryon could have been a first rounder last year. I've been on him for a while. I think he's fantastic. 50th overall, Miami. They can take Marvin Wilson, nose tackle from FSU. They play a 3-4 defense, so you need a nose tackle. You need a serious nose tackle. This is a very large man. So you can have him in the middle of that line, and you have Agba on one side, Christian Wilkins on the other. I think that's pretty damn special. Washington picking 51st overall. Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida. People say, oh, he's kind of a gimmick wide receiver. I think that's fine. I think they could really use that. They have Terry McLaurin there as one of the best receivers in the game. Use Kadarius Toney to help him get open. He's basically, if Alvin Kamara was a wide receiver, that's Kadarius Toney. And that would reunite him with Kyle Trask if they were to draft Kyle Trask in the first round. So that'd be pretty cool. The Bears picking next. Their offensive line is terrible. A lot of Bears fans want them to go offensive line in the first round. If they can't get one of those top quarterbacks, give them Walker Little, left tackle from Stanford. Could be the best left tackle in this draft. He just opted out this year. He was injured the year before that, but otherwise I had him as a first rounder, regardless. The Rams picking 53rd overall, Elijah Vera-Tucker, left tackle / left guard, USC. He's very versatile. I see him more as a guard, but he played left tackle all this season. Number 75, type your screen here, left tackle. The Rams are going to have to replace Whitworth, and his versatility, I think, is fantastic. Browns picking next, 54th overall, Patrick Jones, defensive end from Pittsburgh. They run a 4-3. Need 2 defensive ends. Olivier Vernon has, I think, been fantastic this year, but he's a free agent. They signed him to a 1-year deal, so they will need to replace him. Patrick Jones on one side, Myles Garrett on the other. Keep that defense going. The Titans picking next, 55th overall. I think they need a defensive end. Clowney didn't work out for them. They're looking for that defensive end. Give them Jalen Phillips from Miami. The only question mark with Jalen Phillips is he almost retired from football altogether because of concussions. But I think the Titans, they're kind of in win-now mode, and I think they would take a chance on him. They took a chance on Jadeveon Clowney for a year. So, and this is also kind of, I have the feeling Jason Oweh from Penn State is going to stay in school. If he stays in school, he could be a top 5 pick next year. So I don't know if he's coming out or not. That'll affect this draft. 56 overall, the Colts. They're going to lose T.Y. Hilton most likely, so give them Chris Olave, wide receiver from Ohio State. That's kind of the closest comparison that I could give them. Great route runner, is fast, gets open. Chris Olave. The Ravens picking next. Ravens fans want a wide receiver, someone who can help out Lamar Jackson, make him look good. How about a nice big target? 6'4" Terrace Marshall, wide receiver from LSU. Big dude, he's fast. Personally, if I was drafting, I don't know if I would draft him this high. I think there are similar types of wide receivers like Tamarian Terry that you can get later in the draft. But for the sake of this mock, let's give him Terrace Marshall. He's a good late second round talent. Tampa picking next, 58th overall. I'm going to give him Trey Hill, center from Georgia. Their A.Q. Shipley is retired due to injuries. The center play there this season because of backups coming in has hurt Tampa. There's been some miscues. Give him a real, legitimate center. Trey Hill, Georgia. Next, 59th overall, the Steelers picking. Here I could see them going for their quarterback of the future, their Big Ben replacement. Again, it all depends on Kellen Mond. Not Kellen Mond. I'm going to give them Kellen Mond here from Texas A&M. He's had an amazing season, broke pretty much all of Johnny Manziel's records, even though he played like twice as long. A lot of it depends on Jamie Newman and how he plays in the Senior Bowl, how he looks at the Combine, etc. But next man up would be Kellen Mond in this position for a team looking to develop a quarterback. 60 overall, Seattle. Christian Barmore, nose tackle, Alabama. They run a 4-3 defense. They need defensive ends too. I mean, they pretty much need every position on the defensive line. Christian Barmore is playing fantastic at Alabama this season. The Saints picking next, 61st overall. Hamza Nasir Ildeen, strong safety, FSU. They're going to have to look to replace Malcolm Jenkins at some point. This is a Swiss Army knife type of safety. It's very, I think, comparable to Malcolm Jenkins. So I think this works out very well. 62nd overall, the Bills. Again, we're building a scary defense here with these Bills. Give them Brevin Jordan, tight end from Miami. He's an Evan Ingram type. If Evan Ingram can actually catch the ball, this is what Evan Ingram was supposed to be. Matchup nightmare. So in this scenario, you have Brevin Jordan at tight end, and you have Rondale Moore coming out of the slot with Stephon Diggs playing outside. That's a dangerous offense. All right, the Packers. Speaking of which, they need a weapon too. I'm going to give them Tylan Wallace, who I think is one of the best wide receivers in this draft. Great route runner, get separation, amazing hands. He's just a weapon. Just get the ball in his hands. And as good as Aaron Rodgers has been this year, his players have dropped the ball a tremendous amount of times. So he needs a legitimate wide receiver. Tylan Wallace. The Chiefs, picking at the end of the second round, they need a cornerback. I'm going to give them Israel Mukuamu, cornerback, South Carolina. This is a 6'4" cornerback, very athletic, just long, and he's in a division with some big wide receivers like Cortland Sutton and Mike Williams. He's probably going to have to cover Darren Waller from the Raiders. And the Chiefs, if they're lacking at anything, it's cornerback. They reached for DeAndre Baker, and he just got hurt in his first game. So they'll look cornerback. Now let's start the third round. It starts with the Jaguars. These Jaguars. Here's another special player, Darius Stills, nose tackle, West Virginia. Jaguars are still rebuilding that defense. They run a 4-3. They can use upgrades at all four spots on the defensive line. Darius Stills is fantastic. The Jets picking next, 66th overall. This player coming on strong. Nick Bonito, linebacker from Oklahoma. Oklahoma kind of started the season slow, but their defense really carried them, and of course their offense took off. He's a first-team All-American. It really gets after the quarterback. The Jets really need this type of player. So these Jets in the first three rounds, what have they done? They rebuilt their offensive line. They got a weapon, and they got a cornerback, and they have the pass rusher. That's pretty good for the Jets. Texans finally get to pick. Now, geez, I do not envy whoever the general manager is going to be. There's a lot of work to do on this team. Best player I can give them is Nick Bolton, linebacker from Mizzou. They do need linebackers anyway. Nick Bolton was a potential first-rounder. He kind of came into the season as probably the top linebacker next to Micah Parsons. He was up and down this year, but I think he finished pretty strong. He was impressive. Nick Bolton. 68 overall, the Falcons. They still need help in that secondary. Give them Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, FSU. So the Falcons in 3 rounds able to get a franchise quarterback and really upgrade their secondary. Good for them. 69th overall, the Bengals. Give them Jalen Tweeman, defensive tackle from Pitt. They run a 4-3 defense. They really need to upgrade the interior of the defensive line. They need someone who can, God forbid, get to the quarterback. So what have the Bengals done? They went cornerback, got a guard, and a defensive tackle. I mean, the team is rebuilding. So I would love to give them a weapon. There's so many wide receivers still left after this round. So you can get a Daz Newsome in the next round. Eagles, those damnable Eagles. They can take Eric Stokes, cornerback, Georgia. Of course, this is a need for them. A lot of people have Eric Stokes, early second round. I didn't see where he fit this mock. He's very, very talented. I think he's better than Tyson Campbell. I don't even think I have Tyson Campbell in his third round because I don't see it. It's another story. 71st overall, the Broncos. Oh boy, these Broncos. I'm going to give them Quincy Roche, outside linebacker / defensive end from Miami. I mean, at some point, they're going to have to replace Von Miller. They struggled this year getting at the quarterback. I'm not going to say Von Miller type, but he's very special. So in this draft, they went all defense, cornerback, and 2 linebackers. 72nd overall, the Lions. This player I love because I don't know if he's on anyone's radar, but Paris Tonga from BYU. Lions run a 4-3 defense. Need to upgrade every spot on that line. This player is just, I think he's special. 73rd overall, the Panthers. I'm going to go with them. Paulson Adebo, cornerback, Stanford. I came into the season, I thought he was one of the best corners in this draft. Panthers need to upgrade the secondary. I mean, they have Rasul Douglas, who's kind of, all right, not great. So what the Panthers do in this draft, they upgraded their secondary, got a defensive lineman, and their franchise quarterback. So good draft so far, Panthers. 74th overall, Washington. They got this pick from the 49ers. Here, they could take Ardarius Washington, strong safety from TCU. I think it's fantastic. They don't need defensive linemen. They don't need offensive linemen. So that doesn't leave much else. Ardarius. There was a point where I had him ahead of Trevon Merrick. 75 overall, the Cowboys. Levi Onwuzurike, defensive lineman from Washington. Had him as a potential first rounder maybe 2 years ago. I still think he's fantastic. I think the Cowboys are still trying to figure out that defensive line. Having him next to Neville Gallimore, I think would be fantastic as the two interior defensive linemen. The Giants picking next. I want this to happen so badly. Daniel Falele, right tackle / right guard from Minnesota, just because this guy is so friggin' big, so strong. He was hurt this year, so he didn't get on the field, and then the season kind of fell apart. He didn't play because a lot of players just started opting out. He's 6'9", 400 pounds. He's so damn strong. The Giants still need someone special on the offensive line. Please make it happen. 77 overall is the Patriots. They forfeit this pick. I still don't know why. I don't care. I'm sure they deserve it. The Chargers will pick next, 78th overall. Hunter Long, tight end, Boston College. It's Howie Long's son. Hunter Henry is going to be gone, most likely. And Justin Herbert is a special quarterback. Give him a target. Give him a good tight end that can catch. 79 overall, the Vikings. Give them Jackson Carman, left tackle from Clemson. Come on, it's just a value pick. In fact, the game that he played against Virginia Tech with Christian Darrisaw, I was looking back and forth. I'm like, they both look, like the same player at left tackle. So Jackson Carman. 80 overall, Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald is retiring, so give them Amon-Ra St. Brown. Could have gone there's a lot of different wide receivers you could put in this spot, but Amon-Ra is just as solid as they come. Great route runner, great hands. The Raiders will pick next, 81st overall. Give them Roger McCreary, cornerback from Auburn. So in this draft, the Raiders are just going all defense, and that's fine with me. Miami picks next, 82nd overall. They have the luxury of taking their running back, Javonte Williams, from UNC. I would have had him in my mocks earlier. I didn't know he was actually coming out, but he's definitely coming out in the draft. Had just an outstanding season. Kenny Gainwell from Memphis is another top running back, but he opted out. I love Kylan Hill. Actually, I think I have him at the end of this round. But let's put Javonte Williams there because you can't deny his productivity. So the Miami, in their rebuild mode, they got a stud middle linebacker to anchor their linebacking core. They got a stud defensive lineman to anchor their defensive line. They got a superb, outstanding wide receiver in Jalen Waddle, and they got blindside protection in Eisenberg. So good draft for Miami. Washington picks next, 83rd overall. Again, they don't need offensive line or defensive line. Give them Tuff Borland, linebacker from Ohio State, middle linebacker. Could be a future captain type for that defense. The Bears picking 84th overall. Give them Josh Myers. He's the center from Ohio State. They still need offensive line help, and I think he's been outstanding for Ohio State for a long time. They can do anything. They could pass protect. They could run the ball in Ohio State. Obviously, their running back went for over 300 yards. I think twice. Outstanding. The Rams picking 85th overall. Give them to Darrell Slayton, aka TJ Slayton, Florida. Gators, not Florida State. Put him next to Aaron Donald. I believe they run a 3-4 defense. Just put him next to Aaron Donald. That's good for Aaron Donald. 86 overall, the Titans. Give them Richard LeCount, safety from Georgia. Kenny Vaccaro is old. I think they got Kenny Vaccaro kind of like they were kind of in a bad spot. They needed a safety, so give them another safety, Richard LeCount. 87 overall, the Colts. Give them Jabril Cox, linebacker, LSU. Fits that defense pretty well. They're on a 3-4. He's an inside linebacker. He only played 1 year at LSU. He was from North Dakota State, which is a small school. He wanted to step up to the big time, and he did. So now he's coming out in the draft. Just announced. 88 overall, the Browns. I'm going to give them Jordan Davis, defensive lineman from Georgia. Probably going to replace Sheldon Richardson at some point. I'm not sure how much longer Sheldon Richardson is going to play, but Jordan Davis is a good option to replace him. 89 overall, Tampa Bay. I'm going to give them Elijah Moore, wide receiver, Ole Miss. Another player, I didn't know he was going to come out until recently. I thought he was going to stay in school. Fantastic wide receiver. They're probably going to have to replace Chris Godwin. I think he's going to leave, and who knows with A.J. Brown how long he's going to be there. Tom Brady needs weapons. Elijah Moore. 90 overall, the Vikings. They got this pick from the Ravens. Here the Vikings get to take Desmond Ridder, the quarterback from Cincinnati, had a fantastic year. This is someone that I think they would want to develop. Let Kirk Cousins play this next year, and just see what you have in Desmond Ridder. I think there's a lot of potential there. And I think this is a good spot for him. End of the third round and to the right team. 91st overall, the Jets. They also got this pick from Seattle. Give them Colby Harvell-Peel, the safety from Oklahoma State. Jets need a lot of help all over the field. Safety is definitely a position they're still trying to figure out. Very good year for Colby. 92nd overall, the Steelers. Here they're going to take Kylan Hill, running back, Mississippi State. They could not run the ball this year, the Steelers, especially towards the end. They just could not run the ball. This I think, is the most complete running back available at this point. He can catch the ball. He's very tough. 93rd overall, the Browns. They got this pick from the Saints. The Browns could use some depth at cornerback, so give them Josh Jobe from Alabama, who has looked fantastic this year. Josh Jobe. 94 overall, the Bills. I'm going to give them Patty Fisher, the linebacker from Northwestern. There was first-round buzz around Patty Fisher for his whole collegiate career. We saw the Bills did not look good when Matt Milano went out. So even though they're not desperate, they're going to need at some point to have a linebacker who could step into that role. The Packers, 95th overall, give them Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa, first-team All-American. It's not a desperate need, which is good. Don't pick someone when you're desperate. Get him acclimated. Their center is getting older. He's about 28, 29 years old. So Tyler Linderbaum. Chiefs, the end of the third round. Again, they were hurting at cornerback. I think that's the only spot they're a little weak in depth. So I'm going to give them Kerry Vincent from LSU. They could use depth at corner. That's what that pick is about. There's still so much talent left on the board. We'll get back to it probably after the Super Bowl.